Alright fellas, check it out. Custom RC loaders right here. Giving you guys a little tutorial. Alright, so if you got a redcat 59 or a 64 and it's potato chipping, something like this, just you're not even hitting the back bumper. Let's say you put a little bit of more weight in the back and then you hop and then you hit, oh, you got stuck. Guess what? You on the real hop scene, if you get stuck, you lose. All right, any street level hop, you get stuck, you lose. You know what I'm saying? So if you're suffering from any of these symptoms, I'm gonna show you guys real quick, step by step, how to basically how to build yourself a back bumper smasher. All right, fellas, this is what this video is all about right here. I'm gonna show you guys step by step how to get a consistent back bumper smasher. Alright fellas, so stay tuned. Alright, so first things first, we're gonna go ahead and get this body off of the chassis. Slide it off like that. Right here we got a bone stock redcat 59 chassis. Alright, all the factory servos. Damn, shit's hot as fuck. All the factory battery, everything's OG on this. I mean, shout out to redcat, you guys did your best, but we're gonna go ahead and customize this, basically elevate the performance, the hopping performance on this stock redcat chassis. All right, I already broke the freaking drive shaft. I mean, we're gonna basically upgrade this shit the right way, not the easy way. All right, fellas, so follow along. I mean, if you guys got basic tools, you guys should be able to knock this job out within a couple hours, and yeah, you guys will be smashing that back bumper like none other. All right, fellas, so first things first, we're gonna go ahead and eliminate all the unnecessary brackets. We're gonna go ahead and get rid of this and this right here. So I'm gonna be using this hex driver, a 2.0 hex driver. Okay, so one thing I want to recommend for you guys is if you guys use a nice high quality hex drivers, in order to avoid stripping out these screws, I recommend you use a high quality hex drivers. Okay, this is from the brand called MIP. If you guys need a link or anything like that, I found these tools on Amazon. So if you guys need a link or anything like that, they will be in the description of this video. So you guys could go ahead and grab you a nice set of these MIP hex drivers. Okay, so these are going to guarantee that you don't strip out all the screws. Okay, because if you just go the cheap route, you guys already know, you should already know that story by now. You always get what you pay for, and you got the nice cheap tools, you saved a few bucks on them cheap tools, but guess what, you're going to be stripping out these screws left and right. So I recommend you just get spend the extra cash and get the right tools for the job. All right. So this servo is still connected, so we're going to go ahead and loosen up all the wiring and get the wiring out of the way so that we can get this servo out of the way. And now we're going to go ahead and bring in the real muscle, the king of the streets, the piston pump, the brand new premium digital servo, direct lipo direct power. All right, so this is secret recipe right here, the servo that's going to get you on the back bumper. Okay, 2S powered, gonna be basically a direct power servo. All right, fellas, so that right there is part of the secret recipe. What I mean by part of the secret recipe is that just because you slap this servo on here doesn't mean your car is gonna do backflips. All right, that's the reality. Okay, I'm not gonna sit here and tell you guys just to get this servo or any servo, no matter if you get the Jerry servo or the Reefs 300s, whatever other servo you got, just because you get the faster servo doesn't mean your car's going to be doing backflips or hop any better. It's a combination of certain components that's going to make the car perform the way you want it to. Alright, so this is just a piece to the puzzle, but it's it's one of the most important pieces to the puzzle, because not all servos are created equal. Alright, Reefs 300s are nice, they get you on the bumper, but these are a little bit better. Alright, the Jerry's Super Pump, whatever you got, is basically the equivalent of the Reefs 300s. This servo right here is in a league of its own, because none of those other servos are direct power. This servo right here does not require any programming. This servo right here does not require any BECs. Okay, in case you don't know what a BEC is, go ahead and YouTube it, Google it, and you'll find out. So this is basically one of the best options to go with if you're trying to get your car to hit the back bumper nicely. All right, fellas, so I'm gonna show you guys a step-by-step how easy it is to get your car to the back bumper. All right, so when you purchase one of these piston pumps, they are gonna include a nice decal set so you can represent. Okay, you can slap this on the front windshield, or you got the smaller ones, so you could put these on the side on your quarter windows, whatever it is. When fools see this logo right here, they're already gonna know your car's gonna be on the bumper, breaking fools off left and right. All right, fellas, so you're gonna include the servo, these decal sheet, but most important, we're gonna have instruction card, a wiring diagram showing you guys in great detail how to exactly wire these servos up. Okay, because like I said, these servos are in the league of their own. They don't wire up like any other normal servo. Okay, this is gonna be wired up in a specific way. All right, so on the front side we got the wiring diagram, but on the back side, most important of all, we got the piston pump. We got the RC Pro Hopper piston pump checklist. So if you guys follow this checklist right here, and I'm gonna do that with this build right here, I'm gonna show you guys what each step involves. If you follow these steps carefully, I guarantee you're gonna be on the bumper smashing that ass like none other. All right, breaking fools off left and right. So first things first, let's get the piston pump out of the case. Okay, show you guys real quick what this piston pump is all about. Okay, this is basically what you're gonna expect to get when you order one of these. All right, pop it out. Beautifully designed piston pump. Okay, professionally made 2S direct power. Alright, so fresh out of the box, this is what you're gonna get. It's gonna include a little wiring, okay, a little power supply right here, a little power supply. You're not really gonna need this. This is just an extra, just as well as these servo horns. These are just extras. You're not really gonna use these. Okay, the only thing we're gonna use is just this servo right here. Bam. So I'm gonna show you guys. The first step is gonna be to transfer all the brackets, okay, the servo brackets, to this one. So let's do that real quick. Alright, so we're not gonna really use this. This is basically gonna be in the way, so we're not gonna install that right now. For now we're just gonna leave the servo like this. We're not even gonna use this arm right here. I don't recommend that you use this long plastic arm, because the amount of power that these servos put out, I guarantee you're gonna break this arm within a couple hits. Not only that, this long arm is not gonna be any beneficiary for you to hop with. Okay, this long arm is not gonna give you enough torque for you to hop. Okay, that's the name of the game right here, is I'm showing you guys all the secrets, okay? You guys follow these steps and I guarantee you your car is gonna be hopping like this, or if not better than this one. All right, fellas? So just like I said, get rid of this shit. You don't need it. Just put it to the side. All we're doing right now is putting the mounting brackets onto this servo. Okay, so from the factory, this servo horn is towards the back, right? So it would be something like this, right? We're facing the servo horn towards the back of the servo body. But I'm gonna show you guys a little trick on how to mount this, how to get a more better servo arm travel. Okay, it's gonna benefit the hop, the overall hop performance, and so on and so forth. So instead of mounting it with the servo horn on this backside, we're gonna go ahead and do what you call a flip. We're gonna basically flip the servo. We're gonna do a flip servo mount, right? So we're gonna have, instead of the servo mount being on this side, we're gonna have it towards the front, okay? And you guys will see why in a minute when we get to there. So we're gonna go ahead and mount the brackets so that we could have the servo horn towards the front of the car. All right, let's get these screws back on here. This is what I'm talking about. This servo being in a league of its own as far as what all the other servos are on the market, what's available in the market. Okay, this right here is what makes this servo specifically designed for hopping, to get you on the back bumper, smashing that back bumper. The maximum amount of torque and power, we're gonna go direct to the battery. That's one of the key features that makes this servo better than the other servos in the market today. Right? All right, so keeping it moving. We're gonna go ahead and remove this arm right here, because since we're flipping this servo to the front, this servo is gonna be too long. So we're gonna go ahead and remove this. Okay, we're just gonna twist it off. We're gonna keep the rod end in there. We're just gonna twist this rod off, okay? And we're gonna be putting a shorter connecting rod. Okay, I'm gonna show you guys how to fabricate a shorter connecting rod. All right, fellas, real easy. Just stay tuned. All right, so since we're doing the flip, the servo flip modification on this stock chassis, we are gonna have to change up a couple little things. Okay, so we are gonna need to run a shorter connecting rod, okay, because now since we flipped the servo from back here to over here, we're gonna have to change to a shorter connecting rod. So we're gonna be using a steering rod. Basically, this is the same exact thing that's on here. This is the equivalent length of this steering rod right here. You can find, I got extra steering rods on my website. Go ahead, check them out. Okay, so we're gonna go ahead and put that steering rod right in there. That's gonna give us the perfect length that we need to do the servo flip modification. Okay, and the main purpose of this is basically we're going to alter how this is mounting, how this is connecting. Okay, originally this is how the servo arm was connected. We had the ball towards the servo. Okay, so that means the connecting rod was over here like this, doing this type of shit, right? So since we're not running this long servo horn, because this is gonna basically give us a loss of torque. Okay, we're gonna be running a short 10 millimeter hopper servo horn. Okay, this short servo horn right here is gonna basically give us that nice torque that we are looking for. Okay, when you do this, when you run the short servo horn in combination with this high power direct power lipo servo. That's what I'm talking about. You need a combination of the right components to make the entire car work properly. All right, so this is the next more important component that you need to acquire is the short 10mm servo horn. These are also available on my website, as well as these connecting rods. These are on my website as well. All right, so we're gonna just go ahead and mock up everything to kind of get an idea of how everything's gonna line up. Okay, so the factory holes are right there. Those two right there, we're gonna line them up with these holes right here. And right away, I could already see that if we do that, we're gonna have the servo horn connecting to the inside, the rod end connecting to the inside of here. Okay, that's fine. But when you add the little ball joint, when you start adding all these little things to this arm, since it is a shorter horn, we're gonna have somewhat of clearance issues. Okay, you see the short servo horn? So what this is gonna do, this is gonna basically, to lift up the front, is gonna pull back, right? And that right there is gonna give us clearance issues because we flipped the servo. So now we're gonna basically run into some clearance issues with that going on. Okay, so what we're gonna do in order to do this this modification properly, we're gonna scoot the servo over here. Okay, instead of mounting it to these holes, we're gonna mount it to these holes over here. Okay, and that way we're gonna have, that's gonna give us the clearance on the back side right here on the servo side. Instead of putting the ball joint on this side, we're gonna flip the ball joint to the other side, to the opposite side. Okay, and now we're basically gonna resolve all those clearance issues just by scooting the servo up to that screw right there. We're gonna get rid of that screw and we're gonna go into there. We're gonna mount to that screw hole right there. See that? We'll just connect it right there. We'll do a dry fit. Okay, and there we go. Look at that shit. Clearance issues resolved. So that's how we do the servo flip modification. Okay, like I said, we'll get that screw out, and instead of using this short screw right here, we're gonna use one of the longer ones that came, the screws that are originally went into these servo mounts. That's the screw that we're gonna use, so that way it reaches all the way down to where this is going. Okay, so we're not going to tighten it down yet because we are going to have to drill an extra hole right there. We're going to make sure the servo is in the right spot, make sure it's not too twisted like that or twisted like that. We're nice and even. Make sure we're nice and even, and we're going to go ahead and drill out a hole, a pilot hole, so that we could fit another screw right there. The other servo mount is a little bit further out. It's not going to line up to that screw, so we are going to drill the hole somewhere in this area right here. Okay, so that's why we're going to screw it down here first to get that anchor down, to get it anchored down, to get it in the right location. Okay, so now that we got the servo in the right spot, we're going to go ahead and drill our hole. Alright, so now that we got our servo lined up, okay, we're not we're basically eyeballing it right here. We're not measuring anything, we're just eyeballing it, make sure that it's parallel to the chassis, making sure that it's not twisted like this or like that. Right, we're just gonna go ahead, make sure that it's nice and level, and we're gonna get a drill bit. I'm gonna be using a 3/32 drill bit. That's gonna be just enough, the right hole right there. That's gonna be just the perfect size, not too big to where when you run the screw in there, it's just gonna strip out. It's not even gonna grab any thread. This 3/32 drill bit is gonna be the ideal drill bit that you want to use. Okay, to basically tap into the chassis. Okay, we're just drilling a pilot hole. You see that hole right there. Okay, go down about a 1/4 inch, and then these screws right here are gonna self tap into the plastic. Since that drill bit is just a few millimeters thinner than the actual screw, okay, we're leaving plenty of material on there so that the threads of this screw will self tap into the chassis. There you go. Nice and tight. Bam! Look at that shit. There we go. That ain't going nowhere. Bam! Okay. So that is how you do that. That's how you mount that. Nice and legit. We're gonna keep it moving. Now we're gonna go ahead and connect our connecting rod. We're gonna go ahead and remove this rod in and screw it onto the existing rod end over here. Alright, so we're gonna make sure that the rod end is gonna be on this side, okay? Usually the side of the rod end with the bigger hole is the one that goes into the ball joint, okay? Into the ball joint right here. That's the side that's gonna snap in there. Another thing I want to mention is that you are gonna want to run, I recommend that you run an extra nut back here, because after a while these do get loose. So if you run a nut on here, that's basically you're gonna save yourself from stripping out this this ball joint right here. Okay, so we're gonna run the nut on this ball joint. Alright, so we're gonna use a 5.0 socket to tighten this nut down. Okay, and of course a little bit of lock thread, or if you don't have lock thread, you could use a little dab of crazy glue right in that thread to prevent that nut from getting undone. I ran out of Loctite, so I'm gonna just use a little bit of crazy glue, just a little dab. You don't need to do a lot. I'm just showing you guys preventive things that you could do to prevent your car from falling apart after hopping it so much. These things happen when you don't take these simple steps right now. You're gonna be basically doing a lot of repairs, you're gonna be missing screws, you're gonna be out in the shows, and something gets disconnected because you didn't tighten stuff down properly. So that's why I'm giving you guys the heads up. I'm giving you guys all my tips and tricks. Like I said, you guys follow along. You should build yourself a nice, reliable back bumper smasher. Okay, so we're gonna go ahead and let that glue dry, and we're gonna go ahead and let that sit down. We're gonna let that sit to the side. We're not gonna connect everything yet, because now that we got the servo mounted, we're gonna go ahead and get the wiring hooked up real quick so that we could get the endpoints figured out on this servo. All right, so check it out.